So you've been struggling to promote your OnlyFans using Instagram. In this video, I'm gonna give you the full crash course on how to go viral on Instagram, how to convert those people over to your OnlyFans, and how to make some sweet, sweet money off of Instagram. This is gonna be a 30-minute video that's packed with everything that you need to know about Instagram. So get your pen, get your paper, take some notes, and let's jump straight into it. All right, so let's get into this. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna talk about what you're gonna learn in this video. So the first thing we're gonna go over here is the mindset. Right? These are the basic principles that you want to think about Instagram and make sure that you're doing it the right way. Second thing is targeting the right people. You want to target people that have money and are actually interested in what you're selling. Profile setup and branding, avoiding bans, and then also how to go viral on Instagram. Yay. So let's keep going here. Let's jump straight into the video here. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is mindset. And the main thing that people get wrong with this is they all look the same. Everybody's trying to do the same things. And if everybody's trying to do the same thing, then nobody stands out, right? I'm going to use Post Malone as an example here. If you know Post Malone, he's a rapper and he's a very, very memorable rapper, right? And the main thing that he does, right? He's got some golden teeth, he's got a cowboy hat, he's got the jeans, he's doing a lot of country stuff now, but he was a rapper before. And the one thing I like about Post Malone that is really, really good is the fact that you can explain him to somebody very easily, right? Tatted, face tattoos. He used to have cornrows. He's a white guy who's rapping. These are what we call talking points, okay? So essentially, when you have something about you that's very easy to talk about, that's what a talking point is, right? So with him, he used to be a rapper and now he's doing country. So it allows people to talk about him and he's very easy to explain to other people, right? You know, you heard about that guy, he used to be a rapper, he's got cornrows and he used to make a bunch of rap music, but now he's a country singer. Oh, you mean Post Malone, right? This is very similar to the Halloween test of if you can't dress up as you for Halloween, your visual storytelling probably isn't powerful enough. So as an OnlyFans creator, you want to have a brand. You want to have something that you're known for. You want to have something that people can say, oh, you know that person that does this one thing on the internet, right? And once you find that one thing, you can keep doing it over and over and over again. But in 2026 and every year and beyond, social media is just getting harder and harder. It's harder to differentiate. And that's what building a brand is going to do for you. So essentially this comes around to interests, unique things that you do, things you do. These are the separation principles. You want to make sure that people recognize you and they can explain you to their friends very, very easily. So let's keep going here. So the next mindset shift that you want to have here is you want to make sure that you know that this industry is hated by social media companies. There's bans, there are new things coming out every single day with the algorithm. And if you're behind on the times or if you only have one account, you're screwed, right? So you want to make sure that when you are promoting on something like Instagram specifically, Twitter is a little bit different, but this video is about Instagram. Instagram, you should always have at least 2 accounts. All right. And you want to make sure that these accounts have a different iCloud or a different Meta account attached to them because you can get chain banned if you're using the same credentials, which I'll get into a little bit later in the video. But usually you want at least 2 accounts. You have your main, and this is where most of your content goes. And then you have your second account that you do post on, but you're not putting the majority of your effort into it. And the reason why is because this right here, suspended your account. If you're seeing this message, you are probably having a freak out, right? If you only have one account, then all of your money is based off of that one account, right? So having a second account is just gonna make your life easier. And when you get banned or you lose an account for some random reason, I've even had banned accounts and I'm not even doing anything sexual on my Instagram. And this is something that you really, really wanna do. You wanna make sure that you have a plan B that you can fall back on in case things go sour. Main thing to remember here is this industry hates you, right? Social media does not want explicit content on the platform, and this is why we have to dance around the rules so much with Instagram. So making sure you have a second account that you can use is very, very important if you don't want to cry yourself to sleep every single night. So let's keep going here. Okay, so this is a marketing principle and I'm going to break it down for the people who want to learn how to use Instagram in this video, right? In marketing, there's something called a target audience. Essentially, it's a profile. Right? If I'm selling makeup, I don't want to target men. I don't want to use masculine imagery. I want to use female imagery because those are the people that are going to buy. Okay? So essentially with this, you need to remember that this isn't about vanity metrics. This isn't about getting famous and being viral and, you know, flexing on all your friends. Realistically, it's about making this guy happy, right? And doing things that he is interested in. The second part of target audience, and I'm talking about here, is demographics, My writing is horrible. Demographics and psychographics. These are very big words. Do not get scared. Demographic just means location, right? Are they in a first world country? Do they have money? Usually this is meant to look at the buying power of the person. If they're in the USA or if they're in India, which one of these two do you think has more money? Someone from the USA is a more valuable customer because you can charge in US dollars and you don't have to worry about the conversion for somebody in a third world country, okay? Now psychographics is a little bit different. Psychographics is desires, fears, and general mind stuff, right? So when you're promoting on OnlyFans as a female creator, essentially you are solving loneliness, lack of connection, and sex drive, right? So you want to make sure that when you're making your content that it is appealing to this guy and not some girl in Miami or not your friends, right? You want to target a specific audience and make every single piece of content that you're doing for them because they're the people that are going to buy. So do not make content willy-nilly. You need to look at content that you want to make and think about, okay, how is this appealing to a male audience, usually from 25 and up, or you can go as high as 40 to 60. These people are a little bit older. They don't really understand the internet as well, so it's a little bit easier, but somebody above 25 is gonna have money. You don't want somebody who's 18 years old and who doesn't have a job. You need to make sure that you have a target audience in mind that you're gonna be working for so that when you're making content, you can essentially look at this picture of this guy or whatever, build a profile if you want to, and every single video that you make should be to satisfy the desires of this person and not yourself, okay? So let's keep going to the next page. So the next thing is interest marketing and searchability. I used an example here from Pokemon. So if you look here, this is an Instagram search. Instagram is getting way better at finding things from search. Before, you could type in exactly the thing you were looking for and it wouldn't even come up. Nowadays, you can type in Pokemon like this and it'll actually come up, right? Pokemon, this is the first account that comes up. Instagram search has gotten way better, but if you were to search Pokemon, and I'm doing this on purpose because this is a very male-dominated interest, you should be thinking about something that a lot of men like, because if you're doing makeup, you're not gonna really appear on search for a lot of men there, right? So if you say you're doing a Pokemon niche, okay? So if you look here, all of these people, 4 million, 13.6, 2 million, 2 million, all these people are ranking for search. This is what we call SEO. This is essentially search engine optimization. Wow, my writing is horrible. So Instagram is not a search engine, but it still works here. This is why hashtags used to be a really, really big thing because you're getting categorized. Nowadays, it doesn't really matter. It's more about watch time. It's more about how long people are watching and how many people are commenting. Instagram is more like YouTube now, where the longer somebody watches and the more they engage and the longer they stay on the page is even better, right? But this AI that they're using now, it can detect what's in the video, right? So if you wanted to rank for Pokemon, you would need to have Pokemon in the video. You would need to be doing something with these keywords of Pokemon, right? And where I'm going with this is essentially same as your target market. These guys have their own set of interests. So say you like cars, right? Or you want to attack or exploit the cars market. Essentially, you would make videos about cars. This is the same thing that Jelly Bean does, where she will jump on top of a Lamborghini and smash it, right? Every guy, most guys like cars, or most of the people who like cars are men. Great. So what Jelly Bean does is she combines those two interests so that a man gets hooked in by the car and then she smashes the car, which is shocking, and she's also hot and gets men to come over to her OnlyFans. So essentially, interest marketing is a new term by Gary Vee. If you don't know him, he's massive in the social media space. Essentially, you can't just post content in general anymore. It has to be attached to an interest, partly because of the SEO function, right? If you are attached to an interest, you're easier to find, and those have built-in audiences, especially if they're men. Those are all the people that you want to come to your page. A lot of things like Pokemon, anime, all this stuff is really good because most of the people who look at this stuff, they're usually not the most popular with the women. I'm sorry to say, not to offend anybody here, but this is the real honest truth. So you want to attach yourself to an interest that men have and searchability, exactly like I talked about in the target market portion of this video, but think about it in this way when you're making videos on Instagram because it's easy to get a lot of free clicks off of a topic that is already going viral and you can steal traffic from those places, okay? So let's jump to the next step here. So the next mindset shift that I want to show you guys is essentially consistency and work ethic. And this is about having accurate expectations, right? People see these videos and they say, oh, I'm going to make $5 million in the first month. That's not really how it goes. Instagram is a consistency platform. You need to be posting every single day. You need to be very consistent with this. And this is done through planning, schedules, This is built through being able to get work done even when you don't necessarily want to, right? Here's some results from creators that we've had in the first month, first week, right? 1.2 million, 1.7 million, 1.4 million. These are the type of results that people get when they're putting in a lot of work on a consistent basis. This is compound interest. You can't post one video once and then it didn't go viral and then you move on to the next thing. You need to be consistently working, and this comes down to your planning, your work ethic, and how seriously you're actually taking this, because a lot of people think it's easy and it really isn't, especially when you get a lot of money and a lot of fans coming through. It's even harder because now you have more people to fulfill. So having the accurate expectations for this business is very, very good, and understanding that Instagram is an algorithm. You need to feed the algorithm and you need to find ways to consistently post even when you don't want to. Okay, so let's keep going. So the next step, I'm going to go a little bit deeper into the targeting the right people. This is the main thing that people get wrong, I think, is they think that just posting videos on the internet is going to do it for them. If you are very new, it's important to get those first 100 posts out of the way anyways. But at the end of the day, you need to make sure that the right people are checking this, because the people who are buying your stuff are not girls. The people who are buying your stuff are not usually younger than 25. This is a very adult industry, obviously. You need to make sure that these people actually want to watch your videos and they actually want to follow you and they actually want to click through, right? The more time somebody sees you, the more likely they are to buy, okay? So the main thing that you want to be focusing on is tier 1 audiences, right? This is the United States, this is United Kingdom, this is Canada, New Zealand, and Australia. Again, the reason why we do this is because they have a strong currency, right? United States dollar versus in South African rand is a very different question, right? And especially if you're charging people with USD prices, if somebody's from South Africa, that's going to feel very expensive to them, right? So you need to target these people. If you're in Australia, Canada, UK, or New Zealand, very good, because you're in the geolocation. But at the end of the day, you want to get one of these 5 countries as the main thing you're seeing on your Instagram. If you take a look at your analytics, you can see where the primary people are from. If you have primary India, that is very, very bad because they usually don't buy. If you have primary USA or any of these top tier 1 countries, that's fantastic. Keep doing what you're doing. But if you're going to target anybody, target these. This is an advertising principle. This isn't just from OnlyFans. This is exactly what people use on Facebook ads. They want to target tier 1 countries because they have the most money. And if you want to charge for expensive stuff, it's more likely that they can actually afford it. Okay, so let's keep going to the next step here. So how to target a tier 1 country. So Instagram, like I said, is using a lot of AI detection. So essentially what is in the video actually matters, right? If I was to ask you this question here, who do you think is more appealing to an American audience? Candidate number 1, candidate number 2, candidate number 3, right? If you guessed 2 and 3, then you would be correct, right? 1 isn't necessarily wrong, but when you're thinking about what is appealing and this target audience that we've been talking about, these second 2 are much more targeted. 1, cowboy hat, on the fence, cowboy boots, pigtails. This is very like Texan Southern, right? So anybody who's a cowboy, anybody who's from the Southern USA or some parts of Mexico or some parts of Latin America as well, this is going to appeal to a very Americano kind of thing. Same thing with this. American flag bikini. This is clearly for the 4th of July. Right? This is an American holiday. And I guarantee with these videos, I haven't been able to put the songs on them, but they're using trending music. These backgrounds look very American. This is a very American house. This is probably America as well, but you just can't tell. It's very important to understand that AI is detecting this, and more importantly, people can see, right? Even if you go to Europe, you'll notice the architectural differences and you'll notice how different everything looks, right? So if you want to appeal to an American audience or one of the tier 1 countries, you need to be using tier 1 trends, tier 1 sounds, tier 1 ideas, and things that look relatable to them and it looks like you're in that country. Okay, so targeting is not just about what you film, it's about what you're wearing, what's in the background, maybe even what kind of phone you have, what kind of accent you have, what kind of topics you're discussing. If you're discussing American politics, it's obviously going to appeal to somebody in the USA, right? So these are the type of things you should focus on if you're trying to target a tier 1 country. And let's move on to the next step here, okay? So the next step is profile setup and branding. So I'm going to go over how to set up your Instagram. I'm going to go over general niching instructions. I'm going to give you a formula that you can use to build your niche. I'm going to give you just a bunch of ideas on how to build a brand and how to set up your page, okay? So the first step is I'm going to break down this girl's page. I just found her randomly and she's doing this very, very well. So essentially, she's got a nice profile photo. The one thing about having a good profile photo is when you're commenting, it looks clean and it makes people want to check you out. Say if you're going to go comment on another girl's Instagram post, your profile photo needs to be visible when it's really, really small, right? I've seen a lot of people use kind of more revealing photos here, but this is pretty good here, okay? So second thing is she does not have a direct OnlyFans link in her bio. It's not there, right? It's right here, right? She points you down to this right here, which is your highlights. In 2026, you cannot have a direct OnlyFans link in your bio. You probably never should have in the first place. So if you have OnlyFans, like an OnlyFans direct link in your Instagram bio, that's very, very bad. You need to be using a bridge page. This is essentially link.me. This is very common. A lot of people used to put link.me directly into the bio, but you can't now because they've had limited reach, which I'll go over in a second, right? So essentially, this girl has a great photo. She has some Asian lettering in her bio, which is a niche and topic in and of itself. If you take a look here, essentially she has some sort of Asian writing, right? And this is fetishized in a lot of places, right? She has some cool pinned comments. These are obviously very well-to-do videos for her. And then she's doing reels, right? This is the perfect way. She's a huge creator, so she knows what she's doing. She probably has a management behind her as well. And then this is what her link page looks like. This is very Asian, right? It's probably her real name, but she's really playing into the Asian thing here, right? And then here is her, click over to the OnlyFans, and it's suggestive. This is very suggestive, and it's getting people to go over to that page because it's exciting. This is a more sexual page, but you cannot use nudity on any of this stuff, okay? So next step of this is branding and niche, right? And this talks about supply and demand and just the general idea of how brains work, right? If there is more people doing something, then the value of that is low, right? So this here is Sophie Rain. If you don't know her, you're living under a rock. This is like the peak of the old school OF creator, right? When she did it, it was new. When she did it, nobody else was doing it, right? But for me, if I was to look at this as a fan, this is very basic, right? Everybody can do this. There's no barrier to entry to just sitting on your bed and putting on a nice outfit. Like, there's people that are better looking than her that are doing this as well. The difference is she did it first, right? So branding and niche, same thing with the Post Malone topic, is you need to be remembered. And the hard part about this is the more and more shocking and the more difficult things get, becoming remembered is hard because shock doesn't really last forever, right? There's going to be a time when this is basic and you're going to have to reinvent yourself, right? But for now, essentially the main thing about branding and niche is it has to do with your interests, which are male dominated, as we talked about before, right? Anime, this is obviously some sort of TV show that she likes. I'm sure she's probably into it and she looks good, so she likes it. Right? She's getting a lot of attention for this. This is probably a male-dominated niche because males obviously love anime. And this is something that took a lot of work, right? She would have to buy this costume or make it. She's outside somewhere. Cool. Outside. Cool background. And this is like lit by the sun. This is a very specific time of day. Wow, that's horrible. Specific time of day, right? This is just really put together and it's meant to be remembered. This is the main thing with your branding and your niche is you need to be able to explain yourself to somebody very quickly, right? Tattooed guy, white guy with cornrows who sings country, Post Malone. Alex Hormozy, he wears that nose strip. He's a very big guy in the business space. He wears the nose strip with the hat and the tank top, right? A lot of this comes down to costumes and image. But in general, being remembered, where is this? Being remembered is your goal. And being very easy to explain to other people, right? If there was a pink elephant walking down the street in some heart patterned underwear, right? That'd be very easy to explain to somebody because it's so off the wall, it's different, right? So a lot of what niching is looking at something that's male dominated and keeping an eye on the trends and keeping an eye on what other people are doing, because if everybody's going this way, you don't want to go this way. You want to change it up and disrupt. Disrupt the market, look at what everyone else is doing and go another way as long as it's something that you kind of enjoy, because if you're trying to do a niche and trying to do an interest that you don't really enjoy, it's going to be very difficult and you're going to have a lot of friction to getting started. So something that you like and a lot of men like is the perfect way to do this, okay? Now, I'm going to give you a formula that you can use and you can steal this, screenshot this, do whatever you'd like. So essentially what we would do for a model that would come on with us, right? Say she's Asian, right? Asian model, okay, cool. What do you do for work, or what was your career path? Oh, I was a nurse. Okay, how tall are you? Let's just 5'0". Let's say 19, and then anime. right? So here's a bunch of keywords again. So if you go on Instagram and look up Asian nurse, or on Twitter, right? These are keyworded in your bio, right? If this is in your bio, then you are being categorized for people that are searching for this, right? 19-year-old Asian anime freak, right? That would be something that you could write. Or 5'0" Asian nurse who loves anime, right? These are all keywords that are attacking interests, right? So steal this and use it. This is something that I use with every single model that comes on with us or some that I talk to on the phone. This is a very easy way to look at what a niche actually is because it's categorizing you into a bucket. People really do want to put you into a box, and it sucks because as creative creatures, we don't want to be put in a box, but it's just easier because people are lazy. They don't want to have to think a lot, right? So if you can make their life easier by just explaining what you are in a quick tagline, then it's going to be much easier for them to remember you. Oh, do you know like the 5'0" Asian nurse who likes horseback riding? Great. That's super easy to remember. And it's also keyword and SEO optimized, which is search engine optimization. Makes you easy to find. And it's also somebody can look at you and say, okay, I understand this person. I don't have to think that it's going to be unpredictable. I know what I'm getting into with this, and I can just either like it or not like it, right? So the next thing here is if you've been on Instagram for any amount of time, you have been dealing with bans. Bad. Bans are super, super shitty, so let's go over how to fix them or how to avoid them, right? So the main thing that you should be doing on a daily basis is checking your account status. So you go to settings and activity all the way down to the bottom right here at account status. It will open up a page that looks like this. This is my personal page. I even am having limits on my reach. Can't use this feature, can't use this feature. But if you are a model and you're having posts removed, what you need to look for is this, reach. So this is limited reach. So this means that people that don't follow you cannot see your content. This is horrible. This is catastrophic. You need to make sure that you're checking your account status as much as possible. If this is orange, it'll say limited reach. Sometimes you can have your stories banned. And all of this really sucks because you need to grow, right? And how do you avoid this? Sexual content, too sexual. Using OnlyFans style emojis, like the spicy pepper, way too much explicitness. This could be like swearing, profanity, stuff like that. We still want to abide by the terms and service of Instagram here. So the main thing with this is you need to make sure that you are being careful with what you're posting. I've seen a lot of people out here that will post really, really risky stuff, and it does work for a very quick minute, but you're gonna lose the account. And the bigger you are, the more on Instagram's radar you are. So this may not be a problem when you have 5,000 followers, but when you have 50,000 followers, this is all of a sudden an influential account, and Instagram's going to be much more stringent about what you can do and what you can't do. So you should be checking your account status as much as you can, okay? The second thing is chain bans. So like I said at the very beginning, you need backups. You should have a backup or multiple backups, and you should be active here too. You should be posting and make sure that you don't have to start from absolute zero at the beginning. But you want to use a different email, different meta account, right? Because if you are connected with one meta account to multiple accounts, you can lose them all. And then sometimes you can even be IP or device banned, right? So you need to make sure that you are being smart here. If you're going to have multiple accounts, have them on different meta accounts, different emails, different numbers, different phones if you have the money or if you have the wherewithal to do that, okay? But chain bans exist. They exist on TikTok. They exist on Instagram. Chain bans are the worst because you basically have to buy a new phone if you get IP banned. So make sure that if you're going to have multiple accounts, that they're on different meta accounts and that they're not connected in any way, because Instagram can definitely go into the back office and look this up, okay? The next thing about using your main IG, so I'm just gonna say main IG for this one, and any IG that you have. A lot of people just have the IG and they only post, right? So they'll just walk on, post, go to their actual personal account. This is bad because IG can see this. IG can see this, and you look like a bot, right? You want to act like a human, sending memes, scrolling, doing market research, These are all things that Instagram needs to see to make sure that you are a human. And now with AI and all the bots and all this bullshit that's happening now, it's even more important now because they're banning so many accounts because of weird activity, right? So you want to scroll on your account, send memes to your friends, actually use the account, right? And this is actually better for you too, because if you don't compartmentalize your OFIG like it's some sort of alien in the corner, you start to use it better. You start to put stories that are just not promo, stories, actual life stuff. This starts to humanize you, and you're not just a random prostitute on the internet. You're actually using the account like a normal person would, and you're actually utilizing all of Instagram's new features, which is something that's definitely gonna get you more views, specifically using something like edits, using live streams, or when they come out with new things, you wanna be using these things. And most of the time, if you have two accounts, your personal and your OF, it's difficult because you're using your personal to do all your stuff, and then when you go to this page here, all you're doing is posting and leaving, right? So you wanna make sure that you're using these accounts like a regular person and act like a human, okay? So let's keep going. The next step here is I'm gonna show you how to go viral on Instagram. Obviously, disclaimer, this is a very, very overall look at this. This is very, very deep, and there are full compartments of businesses that do this marketing, right? So it's very, very deep, but I'm gonna give you just a general idea of what it looks like, okay? So, the main thing that I tell every single person who does OnlyFans is volume beats everything. This girl has 379 posts, right? A lot of people love to sit here and say, oh my God, look at my follower count. Your follower count does not really matter. The main thing that matters here is the amount of posts that you have. If you have under 100 posts, you do not have enough data to understand, right? Until you have 100 posts plus, you don't have enough data. You don't have enough actual analytics in the background to see what is working and what isn't, right? And that's gonna lead into the next part I'm gonna talk about. But if there's one mindset that you need about this is post more. If you have to post 3 times a day, 5 times a day, 6 times a day, just to get those reps, just to get your actual footing and cut your teeth with this, do this, because the biggest creators have made thousands of videos, they have their workflow down, and they understand how to do it quickly, because if you're brand new, it's very difficult to start something new and know how to do it correctly. You don't have this ability to just jump in, figure it out, and have a workflow. You need to build a workflow that fits with your life, so get those 100 videos as soon as you can, okay? The next thing is the general idea and the general structure of a good video is the hook, right? So if we look at how people actually digest content. They're on the For You page and they're just scrolling. They're doom scrolling, doom scrolling, doom scrolling. How the hell are you supposed to snap them out of that? This is what we call a pattern interrupt. Pattern interrupt. Okay, so essentially you need something in the first second that kind of snaps people at attention. Usually what I like to call this is like a question, and it's not a literal question, but essentially it leads into the second part of this video, right? So you make them ask a question in their mind, right? And then in the second half of the video, you need to do a rehook, right? Like, can I do this one challenge, right? That would be your hook. And then you try the challenge, and then there's a second hook where things go bad, right? And this is how movies are made. There's always this fretting that's happening. And at the very end, that's when the payoff, you either do it or you don't. Okay? So how this works for me essentially is you have your question, you have your make them wait, but you re-engage them and then you answer the question. Right? This isn't a blanket statement either, but this is just the easiest way to look at it, because when somebody's watching it, you say, can I jump 50,000 feet with this bungee cord? Okay, cool. Can they do it? Right? And then you go to jump and then you get scared. That's a retention moment. And then you actually jump and come back up. Oh my God, I did it. Right? Question, keep them waiting, and then you give them the answer. Right? So essentially it's hook, retention, payoff. Let's jump to the next slide here. So the reason why I said the whole 100 posts thing, 100 posts is important because what you want to be doing is you want to be remaking your winners. You do not want to start from scratch every single day. And this is very difficult to do when you don't actually have any content to work from. So once you have 100 posts, you can do something like this, right? Okay, what were the last 9 posts that I made? This one did 12,000, 13,000, 275,000, 46,000, 106,000, 49. Okay, which one of these videos do you think you should redo? If you chose this one and you chose this one, you'd be correct, right? In marketing, you don't want to start from scratch. Or what they say is start with a blank page. Wow, my writing is horrible. Forgive me here. Blank page, okay? So in advertising, is it more likely that somebody's going to buy from an ad that somebody's already bought from, or that you start from absolute zero. It's very easy in advertising because if you're spending money to run an ad, you want the most guaranteed thing you can possibly get, which guarantees don't actually exist. So you need to find what's actually working, right? If you were to post another video with this same format, right? Say there's a certain script or a certain idea here, you could actually kind of predict what would go viral, right? Because it's already gone viral in the past, right? So the main thing here is remaking your winners. You need a good amount of content here to understand what has worked and what has not. This one did not work in the relation to what's happening here. So you want to go back through your videos and remake your winners. And this is where you'll help with your niche too, because say every single video you make about cars goes viral, but every time you cook, nobody cares, right? You should dial in on cars and not cooking, right? This is what the target audience is telling you. They'll tell you in the comments, and they'll tell you with their view. They'll vote with their wallet. So you need to be looking at your page, figuring out what's happening, deconstructing it, looking at it and say, okay, people really liked this last time, so I'm gonna start going down this path because the algorithm is already favoring me in that situation, okay? So the next thing to grow is collaborating with other creators. So if you look here, all of these girls are in the same photo, right? This is a group photo, but this appears on all their pages. All their pages, right? So this is cross promotion. They are sharing audiences here. This is something that is huge in every single world. If you're in a rock band, if you go out with another rock band and play with them, you're going to be capturing some of their audience, right? And look at the engagement on this, right? Just the amount of people that watch this. Some people like this one, some people like this one, some people like this one, some people like this one. They're all wearing matching outfits, a very cute video. It's very visually appealing. And this is cool because all of these girls have a completely different audience, right? So they're sharing their audiences. You need to be collaborating with other creators if you can. If you can't, all you got to do is send messages. Hey, I see your videos are great. We should collab sometime, right? A little bit bigger than you. Don't go for the 2, 5, 6 million follower people, but this is something that you should be thinking about because you can skip steps by working with other creators. Okay, so this is very, very big. The next thing is, again, you don't want to come off as like an online prostitute. You want to come off as a real person. So this was the girl that I broke down her IG, and this is a story that she posted, right? She's just like eating scones. She's not even in it. This is just lifestyle content, right? And what this does is this makes people think like, oh, she's not that different than me, right? I like scones. Oh, she's cooking. I've cooked before. This is like a relatability post. You do not want to post on your story every single day telling people to go to your OnlyFans only. You want to make sure that you are humanizing yourself so that you don't look like a bot, right? Humanize yourself, posting bloopers, posting funny stuff, maybe doing stories and responding to comments. All of this stuff builds depth to you. And the main goal here as an OnlyFans creator is you want people to chat with you on OF. You don't want people to buy something and leave. You want them to fall in love with you. Boop, boop. You want them to fall in love with you, and they can only do that when they have something to latch onto. This is where interests, lifestyle, and relatability come into play. So this is a perfect relatability post, and then I'm sure she promoted her OnlyFans on the same day anyways, but this is the type of things you want to do. You want to be conscious of how shallow do you look? Do you look like just a regular online OnlyFans creator that only posts there for money, or is this something that you can actually post personal stuff on and let people into your life, okay? Another thing that you can capitalize on is relevant news. I use this Trump rally here as an example. Obviously, it's a very controversial thing, but essentially there are trends and topics that are going around. For example, looks maxing, right? This is a very big thing these days that didn't exist like 2 years ago, right? So jumping onto these topics and talking about it is very good because it's male dominated and it's already trending, right? There's so many views coming towards clavicular and all these looks maxing guys. When you're relevant, it allows you to get into somebody's brain. If somebody's already looking for looks maxing content and you appear, right, you're stealing traffic from that relevant topic. So this is very important, especially if you want to target tier 1 countries. If you wanted to target a tier 1 country and you talked about a Trump rally, you're going to get a very divisive audience, but it's relevant for somebody in a certain location, in a certain demographic. Okay? So I hope this is making sense. But the general idea is you want to try and skip steps if you can, and this is exactly what the news does, what journalists do. They find something that's already popping and they just jump on the wave, okay? So again, what you're gonna do to promote your OnlyFans is you obviously have your link in the highlights, but you a lot of people don't really go there, right? They don't really understand. So you will be posting on your story 1 time a day as well, at nighttime, because most people are lonely at night. Ooh. Okay? So you'll post something like this, right? This is obviously very sexual. She's showing her body. She's sticking out her tongue. You want to be doing this at least once a day, once every 2 days, right? This is the link page that we talked about before. Okay? So essentially you want to post something because you want to be able to promote and get more touch points. You want people to remember that your OnlyFans exists, and you want to be using this to your advantage if possible. Okay, so your stories are to build depth and also to get people over to your page. Okay, so I hope everything in there made sense. I hope you guys got some value out of this video. If you want to work with us, I'm actually an OnlyFans management agency, and we help creators get to the top earning month that they've ever had. If you want a free 30-minute audit, that's what I'm doing for a few qualified people. You can go to the link in the top pinned comment or the description, okay? The caveat here is we do not work with beginners. You must have an OnlyFans account. You must have an IG account that you're using for OnlyFans. You need to have some established motion. It's impossible for us to actually help somebody who is just starting. If you are just starting, then watch my other videos on this channel. But if you're looking to take some time off your plate, we have the best chatters in the game. We spent years looking for these chatters. We will remove your leaks. We will help you with your content. We will help you with your niche. We will help you with everything that you need. So all you really have to do is set up the camera and film the content. We can give you content ideas. We can do all of that stuff for you. So if this is something that is interesting to you, go to the link in the top pinned comment or the link in the description. You can fill out an application there. If it's something that we think we can help you with, we will reach out, or you can book a call directly on the type form itself. And that's basically it. So if you liked the video, make sure to hit that like and that subscribe button. Leave me a comment if you think I missed anything in this video, and I'll try to make another video about what you are looking for, guys. Okay, so thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.